Hello everyone, welcome back. So yesterday I was shooting a 2x1 foot steel plate at 200 yards with this AR-47. I got like a 9 out of 10 hits, a little windy. Somebody asked me in the comments what type of a zero was I using. Okay, so and what I told him is that I basically zero in at 4 inches above the bullseye at 100 yards. So today I kind of wanted to go back and just dig into that a little bit deeper. So it turns out that I have a 30-yard zero. Okay, so and I never set out to have a 30-yard zero. It's just that I essentially want to be able to get on the target at 200 yards. And that's what gets me there. Okay, so I've kind of backed up into having a 30-yard zero. So at 50 yards, my impacts are 2 inches high. At 100 yards, I am 4 inches high. And right now I'm going to shoot at 200 yards. We're going to try and get an exact idea of where I am relative to the bullseye. Because I know I can get impacts, but I want to see, am I a couple of inches up, a couple of inches low? Now, it is a little windy, okay? It's like 10 degrees, so I got to shoot with these thick gloves on. So yeah, I'm not looking for a super tight group. I just want to get a general idea of where my impacts are. I'm shooting off a bipod. I'm not bagged in the back, so I'm not expecting, like I said, super tight groups. But it'll give us an idea where the impacts come in. So I am using a 3x magnifier, okay? So at 200 yards, if you're shooting at a man-sized target, easy stuff. But if you're trying to get on a like a 1-inch bullseye, let's see what it looks like, because I don't remember. So I can barely make out the bullseye, but I can kind of see it. Let me see if I adjust the focus on it a little bit. Okay, so I adjusted the focus on it. I can see it a little bit more clearly. It's still tiny. I have the Holosun 503G, which has a chevron. So basically what I'm doing is I'm putting the tip of the chevron to the bottom of the bullseye. And that chevron really allows me to have a very fine aiming point, right? I'm not using a big 2mm weight dot that covers up the bullseye. I'm putting the tip of the chevron underneath that tiny little 1-inch bullseye. So that's 5 shots. I took a pause there because one of the things I forgot to do while I was shooting is I forgot to check the bubble level that I have here to make sure that the gun's not canted when I'm shooting. And yeah, it seemed like I had a good cant. That was the reason why you guys saw me pause. So pause. So I'm shooting. Again, this is an AR-47, so I'm shooting Wolf Performance. Okay, so steel case ammunition. 7.62 by 3.9. Let's go look at that bullseye, and we should get a good idea of where the impacts came in. All right, everyone, I'm coming up on the target, and I can see from here. I have a phenomenal group at 200 yards. So again, this is what the Wolf Performance steel case ammunition and the Davidson Defense AR-47. Okay, 5 shots. 2 inches. Well, let's see. With the 5th shot there, we are at 2 1/4 inches. Okay. Now, normally what I'll do is I'll take the best 4 out of 5. All right. So if I take the best 4 out of 5, I'm hold on. If I go this way, yeah, I'm at 2 inches for the best 4 out of 5. So that puts me at 1 MOA. I've hit 1 MOA with this gun a bunch of times at 100 and 200 yards. I had it out to 500 yards where I think I got something like 2.6 MOA. But yeah, right here, you guys saw me do this. Apparently the wind pushed it a little bit to the left because there is a little bit of a wind. But yeah, I mean, all 5 shots, 2¼ inches. Phenomenal group, man. 7.62. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I'm hesitant to go to like a 6.5 Grendel or a 6.5 Arc. I mean, I got shit tons of this, you know, Russian steel case ammunition. And the 6.5 Grendel and the 6.5 Arc are only a little bit more powerful, and they might be a little bit more accurate. But this Davidson Defense AR-47, man, it's been kicking ass. I mean, I did have an issue that I posted with it came with a Bear Creek Arsenal firing pin which broke. I replaced that with the Black Rifle Arms firing pin, which has been working pretty good. I mean, basically the upper was like 225, 224, and then with the shipping and taxes, it came up to 240, right, for the complete upper. I mean, this thing is rocking, man. It's basically turned my what was cheap Russian ammunition into like almost like match grade ammunition. So this is absolutely phenomenal. Anyway, going back to what the purpose of this video. Let me open up this. I had to take off my gloves, even though it's like 10 degrees because I couldn't work the tape measure. So, I was holding basically underneath the bullseye, underneath the tip. So basically, I got 2 tips. So the 503G has a chevron, so I matched up the tips. So my impacts are about 4 inches high at 200 yards, which is great because that means like all the way at 200, basically all the way out to 250 yards, I could just put my chevron on the target, and I'll be either 4 inches high, 4 inches low. Okay. Here, let me actually make some notes. Let me pause this for a second. All right, so here you go. So I made some notes for you guys. So it was World Performance 7.62 by 3.9, 200 yards, coming in at about 1 MOA. So basically, I have a 30-yard zero. Okay, at 50 yards, I'm plus 2 inches. I shot this, let's say, at 20 yards. I was like -2 inches. Actually, let me make a note of that. Okay, so yeah, so at 20 yards, I'll be -2 inches. 30 yards is the zero, and that's not something that I intentionally like picked. That's just what I backed into to, you know, give me good impacts. At 50 yards, I'm plus 2 inches, right? At 100 yards, I'm plus 4 inches, okay? And at 200 yards, I'm plus 4 inches. I suspect, I don't know for sure, that somewhere around 150 yards, I probably am hitting an apex. Okay, I'd have to test it out, because if I'm plus 4 inches at 100 yards and plus 4 inches at 200 yards, that means I gotta be rising a little bit higher than that. So I would say I'm probably plus 5 inches at 150 yards. Or maybe I'll do it tomorrow. It's starting to get dark now. I'm gonna test out the 150 yards tomorrow. But yeah, and then after 200 yards, basically, I should start dropping. So, you know, like at -250, I'll probably be about I'm sorry, at 250 yards, I'll probably be about -4 inches, I think. At 300 yards, I've already done that. Basically, I put the bottom, so I have a chevron, so I would put the legs underneath my bullseye, right? So I would basically put my legs on top of my bullseye. So that's how that works. That I've already done. So this is working pretty good. This is pretty good. And this is a phenomenal freaking group, man. I mean, for cheap steel case ammunition, Wolf ammunition in a cheap budget gun, you know. I mean, this is an excellent deal. Yeah, I wanted to give you guys a close up of the gun. Okay, so yeah, that's the Davidson Defense AR-47 upper Holosun 503G that has the ACSS reticle. That's absolutely the best reticle. Every red dot should have this reticle. The horseshoe with the 3 dots underneath it. I've had that all the way out to 500 yards. Holosun 3x magnifier. I prefer the Vortex 6x. However, that's on another gun right now, and this is what I was working with yesterday when I got the 9 out of 10 at 200 yards on the steel plate. So I wanted to use the same magnifier, but as you can see from what I did here, I mean, you know, getting hits on a 2 foot by 1 foot plate is easy, man. We, you know, at 200 yards. I mean, we got a a 2-inch group here at 200 yards. So that was, that's nothing what I was doing yesterday. But this is absolutely excellent. I absolutely love this setup, man. This is an excellent gun. And basically, it's turned my ammunition into like my cheap steel case ammunition into match grade ammunition, into match grade ammo. Hey everyone, I wanted to add something as far as impacting 4 inches high at 100 and 200 yards, and then 5 inches high at 150 yards. So that's at the tip of the chevron, right? Using that tip for a very fine aiming point. Now, if you're like in a press situation, what you would do is you basically would put the entire arrow on the target, right? Like you would use that arrow that you see in the image here as a red dot. That's like the thing that you would do under stress. So if you're putting the whole arrow on the target, your impacts are going to come in a little bit lower. So you're actually going to get a true, you're actually going to get closer to point of aim, point of impact. So you've got the option to be like super accurate, and you also got the option of just getting some fast shots off. So the other thing here is like with this reticle design, you've got the 65 MOA circle, and I've talked about other videos on how to use that for range estimating. And then you got the 3 dots underneath it for your holdovers. Now in this image, you can't see them very clearly because of the camera, but with the magnifier, with the 3x, and especially with the 6x, you can see those 3 dots very clearly. So that allows you, that gives you good holding points all the way out to 500 yards. If you're using 5.56, you can get to 600 yards. One more thing I want to add: if you only got a 2 MOA circle dot, what you can do is you can zero in with your 2 MOA dot at the bottom of your bullseye. Okay. And then you'd be able to use it in a similar way because the round 2 MOA circle, the top of that circle would give you a finer aim point. The only thing that you're missing is you don't have the 3 dots underneath it for your holdovers. Hey, I wanted to show you guys the ammo that I used. Basically, Wolf Performance steel case ammo. Okay, and I shot it with these winter gloves too. Okay, so these are kind of thick. This is probably as thick as I can go and still use that 2-stage trigger that's in there. Because right now it's about 10 degrees. If it was colder, I'd have to go to thicker gloves, or if I was going to be out longer, I'd go to thicker gloves. But then what I would do is I would change the lower. Okay, I wouldn't use a 2-stage trigger that I got in there. I would basically switch the lower to go to a mil-spec trigger, so I can feel the trigger better with thicker gloves. Okay, so that's one of the things you got to keep in mind with if you're working with gloves. If you go too thick, you can't go with a light trigger. You need something that's going to give you a little bit of resistance so that you can feel the trigger.